per se. It's just like, hey, I think it would just be neat if we had these casts for ourselves, because you take a little bit more from the game when somebody else is looking and describing at what you're doing.
Just make sure if you want it to last for more than a month, you actually save the video files and upload them somewhere.
Oh
Because
yeah,
otherwise,
I upload to YouTube.
okay, that was what I want to make sure. Because not everybody knows Twitch still is deleting things.
Yeah, I think it's every 2 weeks because I don't have a ton of followers.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. That it's inconsistent.
Yeah,
Depending on how, like your like if you have affiliate or not, or partner or not.
well, fair enough. I'll wait until it hits the 1 minute mark, and then I'll keep it over at 52 seconds. Striking up now. All right, welcome to I guess now the YouTube cast, since fewer people are watching this, of FxB versus Born Gosu Week 2 on CTL. I'm Dr. Powerthirst.
And I'm Dallycat / Mayfire, depending on where you know me from. Either one works.
All right, and we will jump right into game 1 then. This is the, I believe, Platinum League game.
You know what? I should pull up the format just so that we can quick reference it.
Yeah, I think it's 2 platinums, right?
It is 2 platinum, 2 diamond, 2 diamond 3, and then diamond, and then masters.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep. This first one with we'll jump right into this game here then.
That's gonna be a PvT on Eternal Empire. And we're going to have a lightning fast load in because replays are, well, nice.
Yeah, we haven't had a patch to completely break the replay system yet.
Oh, yeah. If a patch breaks it, you're going to basically have to solo cast it because it's almost impossible to sync up properly.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, well, I will keep that one in mind for the future. All right, we will start off in the bottom left. For Born Gosu, it is Badnikton.
That's not the bottom left.
Ah, you're right. Yeah, that is Lunar Storm. I take that back. I can't even tell directions.
You'll get used.
That is FxB's Lunar Storm. Yeah, you're right. I'll get used to that.
And in the top right, in the orange trunks, playing Terran for Born Gosu, it is Badnikton.
Okay, all right. And since this is a PvT and I'm a Zerg player, I have no clue what's going on. This seems relatively normal.
Yeah, the Terran has gone for the standard, like, racks into gas. They're going to get a Reaper. It's probably going to be a Reaper expand. Lunar has thrown down a gateway and a pylon. It's not really in a position to block off, like, the Reaper jump or block off the Reaper from going around behind the mineral line. So while that's not necessary, it can be a little helpful to do one or the other.
Yes.
What is a little strange is that Badnikton is scouting with an SCV. And that's a second Rax.
Ooh. So then I guess in the TVP is 2 racks about the same that you would expect from the TVZ.
Well, no, this isn't even a 2-1-1. This looks to be because he threw down a third Rax. 3 Rax bio is with a late expand is actually a fairly meta build right now. The whole idea is to pressure the Protoss before their production gets up and running. Because the bio's disgusting.
I gotcha. Well, Lunar sees all of this. The probe is now being chased away. And on her side, she's taking an expansion, has a gateway, getting some gases, so normal stuff, I'm guessing.
She's delayed Warp Gate to get a faster Robo, which could be good, especially if Badnikton goes Marauder heavy. Meanwhile, Badnikton is going for 2 Racks Marauder, 1 max reactored Marines. and he waited a long time to get his second and third add-on unnecessarily. He was floating quite a lot of gas.
So the idea to this is to get combat shields and stim simultaneously, or just pump a ton of marauders?
It's mostly just that you want the marauders, I believe. There's some variation. I don't play this build. I've played against it a few times, but usually it's like, oh, I'm just gonna make stuff and try and not die to it. The intricacies of it is like, okay, they're gonna hit with a lot of bio, and there's gonna be stim, and that's about all you care about as the defender.
I gotcha. Yeah, there's an engineering bay up there too, but yeah, it looks like he's getting concussive shells and stim right now.
Combat shields and concussive shells are both much faster upgrades than stim. I believe you can actually get all three if you time it out correct off of 2 tech labs. Lunar has thrown down 2 shield batteries. It would be good to see another pylon here since she knows this is like 1 base pressure.
Yep. Yeah, warp gate nearly done. Yeah, she was putting down 2 earlier, but then I guess decided to make it more of a pseudo wall in, whereas Bad Nicton is just massing up a scary looking army.
Yeah, +1 attack with this. This is just a 1 base all in off of Bad Nicton. This is just, he is going to throw a big ball of bio in there and hope he has enough to win. Hopefully Lunar is good with her shield overcharge button, because I know even like Masters players are still struggling with remembering A, that exists, and B, what the hotkey is.
Is it to her advantage to be throwing down more of these shield batteries?
I don't think you want more than like 3 in this situation, but you definitely need more than 1 pylon. Otherwise, it just gets depowered really easily.
Yeah, it looks like she's opting to get an observer to go along instead of another immortal.
2 immortals is a lot, especially against a marauder heavy composition. Immortals interact with marauders much like they do roaches. See, they just kind of go.
Yep, and here comes the attack. Are we getting more overcharge on this? Because it looks like the marauders are cutting through pretty quickly. But yeah, he's reached the point of not dealing as much damage, and GG's immediately.
I mean, if you look at it right here, like Lunar was miles ahead in income because this was just a 3 racks timing, and if it didn't work, the guy was basically dead.
Yeah, and she scouted it immediately and had nice defensive setup.
Cutting the warp gate to get the faster robo was really, really smart, because the immortals really were what did the damage there for her.
So then they were dealing the extra damage to the marauders. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe it takes. I think it takes the exact same number of shots from an immortal to kill a marauder as it would a roach. Off the top of my head.
Okay, yeah, that is accelerated damage as the coming from a Zerg player. Marauders, or sorry,
immortals
just destroy roaches.
Yeah, they also destroy stalkers.
Unless you have the overcharge pylon there, or the overcharge shield battery there, right?
Yeah, but in PvP, people are like, when you overcharge the shield battery, most people just focus it down already. And then it doesn't do anything because it can't heal itself.
Yeah, I've been doing that too in my games as well, where I'll see they have a shield battery there, so instead of targeting a pylon, I'll target the battery. Just because I hear they're good, I don't see them being just awfully good, so... Well, guess we shall see. Anyway, we can get into game 2 then. All right.
This one's got some Zerg in it. You'll be happy.
I will be very happy. It is on the opposing team, but nobody's perfect.
What's your feelings on this map? Because like, I don't think like the speed up zones really affect much at all.
Well, I will get into that momentarily once we... I thought this was supposed to be a fast startup. There we go. And then, let's see. So it's shift 1. Haha, there we go. With FxB up 1-0. So then, in the top left, the Zerg player from Born Gosu, it is Von Big Cat.
I like that name.
This is an excellent name.
In the bottom right-hand corner of the map, playing for our very own FxB and playing Terran, it is Revenant.
Or Arc Revenant as he goes in the Discord. But to answer your question on the speed up zones, those, they don't really seem to help as much as Zerg. Like this pillar that you have outside the Terran base, the one I'm looking at now, it's tricky because you don't get it's not a normal pervert perch, as they call it. You don't see the Terran main base. You don't have easy access to see, well, what's in his natural. Can you button real quick to see if he's got Hellions coming to the front, or like just launch in a near suicidal scout to see what their SCV saturation is. You're pretty much left in the dark. So, and I have a lot of Terran players who will they'll go Marine first instead of Reaper and try to pick off the Overlord that doesn't stop at that perch. It's pretty annoying.
I bet. It's just like overall, I don't think like in any matchup, other than very niche situations, I don't think the acceleration zones really amount to doing anything.
Well, I will point this out though. Von Big Cat seems to have gone pool first.
But
so we'll see what he does with that.
But it was pool catch gas by the looks of things.
With a Roach Warren, so this might be an early Roach rush. It kind of looks like the 3 Roach rush, to be honest.
I was going to say, I believe this is Dine's proverbial 3 Roach build.
And by Dine's build, we of course mean, what's his face? the European streamer. Well, but, I mean, Arc's, or Revenant knows this, or, well, maybe he doesn't know it. He's gone in, he's seen the later hatchery, so he's got a bunker going up immediately.
He's also going factory before CC, which is a rather defensive way of dealing with things. The double Marine and that will help him a lot. Oh, the Overlord wasn't over the perch properly.
And he gets it. That's big. That's going to delay the rush significantly. But the 3 Roaches are already building, so not as much.
It looks almost like Von Big Cat may have made an extra Overlord for safety somewhere along the line. Because I know this build's supposed to be pretty tight.
It is, yeah. Well, he's stuck at 28 right now. Revenant's sitting here taking his base on location.
It's a bit of a strange wall off for Revenant. It's the same number of buildings, it's just a little strange on his main ramp.
Now, I'm trying not to give away too much information because I was helping him practice this, so I know what he was trying to do. And Dine was helping him a little bit too, but I don't think he pulled this build out against him. I have to see how this goes because now he's approaching the bunker and he pushes back. Looks like he's trying to collect, the last Roach.
It looks like this tank will be out in time to be a lot of help, and I'm not sure that these 3 Roaches can really jump on this bunker.
No, I don't think they can. They're gonna, start dealing some damage over here at the supply depot, but the tank should be able to chase him off. Or at least provide a good buffer zone, but he might try to go on around it. Oh, they are just outside the siege range.
That is unfortunate, but that does mean that all they'll really be able to do is poke at this one supply depot. I would, in Revenant's position, I would almost just say let the supply depot die. Because repairing it's just a mineral sink at this point, and you're already replacing it.
Right, and he looks to be, he's got 62 supply on the 35, or 35 on the 62 supply, so he should be okay, but pull those Marines back. Yeah, now everything's in location, but he brought the tank down, but it should be okay. Whereas Von Big Cat seems to be going into the usual transition of this rush, which is Spire Tech.
Going up to third base, droning pretty heavily by the looks of things. Oh, no, actually.
Yeah, he definitely missed a lot of prime droning material. He's only got 31 now. He should have the second base saturated by now.
And he has 10 larvae that he's just not using. Because he's supply locked again.
Ah, yes. Well, now he's a little bit out of it, so he's making more workers, getting that economy up and going. Revenant, on the other hand, is putting down a second factory, so it looks like he is going into mech.
I would like to see this barracks lifted now that he has a wall off and start making add-ons if he's going into mech.
And is this... I'm looking at... okay, this is a solid wall off here. I was curious if Revenant's...
I actually no, I don't believe that is a solid wall off. I believe that the far left 2 supply depots a unit can fit through. Depots are kind of weird like that. If you select them both, the rings don't cross over each other. I believe a unit can fit through there.
Ah, okay, so they need to cross over each other for that to matter. That's good to know. Alright, and it looks like Von Big Cat, he's only got about 300 gas at the moment, so there's not going to be a giant swell of mutas when this fire finishes now. But I think he only makes 6 with this build.
Unfortunately, I don't think Arcragon has any idea that this is coming. His engineering bay is almost done, and that's good, but like his only anti-air at the moment is 4 Marines. So even 3 mutas showing up could just end his life at the moment.
That is true. So then the question is he going to go into making Thors, or is he just going to keep making siege tanks?
He has the money. I would like him to just make like 4 turrets right now. 1 in each mineral line, and some to protect his production.
Yeah, the 6 mutas are coming out now, so I think Von Big Cat realized he's behind a bit. He's like, I'll get some of those extra drones, and it's okay. Make the units now. It's not that much behind where he's supposed to be.
There's a turret. That's good. And there's another one. I feel like Ark is like afraid of something. He's playing very conservatively. It might just be the lack of information at this point.
And well, it is. He's also a Gold League player who is playing a Diamond 3. He was a little intimidated of that going in.
By the looks of things, but in that case, by the way, it means that the person he's playing against like just promoted.
Yes. And here we go. The mutas fine purchase. They dodge the 1 turret. There's nothing here in the SCV line, so they are just getting a bunch of SCV kills.
Oh, there's the Thor right on time.
And not a moment too late at that.
It's kind of stuck here because of the tank placement, however. Yeah, I don't think that Thor can get out at all unless he unsieges that tank.
Yeah, that is 8 SCV kills, so it knocks him down to 39 workers. It doesn't look like he's building any extra, and his 3rd base is entirely open right now, so...
He is muling, however. And like he could transfer a few out of his main if he wanted to. He is, however, down 21 workers at the moment, which is scary. But it looks like Von Big Cat's going back into ground. He's getting like Zergling upgrades.
And he wants to
getting an infestation pit. So I'm guessing he wants to go up to Hive. What was that?
He wants to play more of a Ling Bane style, either that or because he sees the mech, he might think, oh, I need to go Swarm Host. It's really up to him how he wants to play it, but he's getting Flyer Carapace right now out of his Spire.
Yeah. It's like he wants to play Muta Ling almost, which is a strange style.
Here comes some Zerglings in to harass the 3rd base, and I think most of this siege tank shell he's going to kill the SCVs. Uses a couple of tanks.
2 tanks and about 6 SCVs. It wasn't that bad.
But I don't think... Okay, he is replacing some of these SCVs, but he's lost a total of 10 so far.
He's also building his 4th CC, which is good.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think Von Big Cat is looking to go Mutiling Bane. He's taking his 4th base. He's loading over 1,000 minerals at this point. I'd really like to see him get a macro hatch, especially for the Zergling style. It is so larva heavy.
He also really needs to transfer workers out of his main into that new base. He is heavily oversaturated there.
Yep. It looks like he's able to clean up these Zerglings. He loses a Thor.
And Thor and a non-cancel on that CC.
Ah, okay, that's bad.
I mean, Ark has got money to work with, so it's not the biggest deal, but he should not have money to work with. He's not staying on top of his production either.
Nah, so yeah, I think that difference in league is showing here. He's picking this up better than our practice game, so I'll give him that. I don't want to say like, oh, this is going absolutely terribly. No, there's a lot of stuff going right here. Yeah. And he's trying to build up to that critical mass of mech that can just ignore most of Zerg's stuff, get a really bad engagement for them, and just win the game.
My comments are not critique as much as they are, this is something you could improve on. Like, 3 racks is on 3, 3 factories on 3 bases is not nearly enough.
All right, here comes another attack. Looks like he's able to focus down one Thor, so he's trading a Thor for this army, which isn't really great for him. The resources lost are favoring Revenant by about 1,200.
Yeah, unfortunately though, because of how much stronger Von Bedkat's economy is, there we go. He can kind of absorb that a couple of times. He's on almost 80 drones now, and
Right,
he is
but
building a macro hatch.
yeah, right. He also is only mining about 2,600 minerals per minute. Usually, when you're at this level of saturation, it's well over like 3,300 to 3,500. But because of that initial rush, his main is a lot more mined out. So to keep up with the economy at this point, you really need to be on a 5th base a little bit earlier than this, which isn't the biggest deal. It puts you a little bit more all in on the units that you have. And here come more Mutalisks to harass.
It's going to get some serious worker damage done because there's not a Thor available to defend this.
And only a oh, he's picking off Hellions too.
And now that he moved the Thors, the Lings are jumping on the tanks, but they get a tank for their trouble.
Yeah, and it looks like he's trying to pull them apart, so he goes back into this mineral line. He's getting even more workers now. Arc's down to about 44.
This is a style that, like, even I struggle with quite badly. Like, multi-prong is a pain in the ass.
In fairness, because I tried to do this as the Zerg player, it is also really hard to do and not lose everything. So.
Oh, definitely. I totally understand. It's also like, it is incredibly stressful for the defender to deal with this.
And Von Big Cat is now making 9 Ultralisk.
And getting both Ultra upgrades.
Yeah, he's going to have adrenal glands for those cracklings coming up in a moment. He's already got 2 upgrades for the Zerglings, so these will properly shred most of what Revenant has. He really needs about 30-40 more supply to really contend with an army like that, but he can also take... Von Big Cat can also take a really crappy engagement and just lose.
Yeah, I am, however, surprised, considering how much money Von Big Cat has, and the fact that they're very nearly maxed out, that they have not started their 3-3. Like, they could have started their 3-3 45 seconds ago and still had the same supply on the field.
Yeah, they just started that now. I'm curious to see, there's no Banelings in this army either, but I guess against a bunch of siege tanks, you don't want to sink your gas into that.
Yeah, that was what I mentioned earlier. It's like, this is like, he's going like Mutaling with no Banelings. That's kind of, it feels very strange. The Banelings are usually to deal with the Hellion / Hellbats more than anything,
which are attacking the morphing 5th base at this moment. But with nothing here, I think Revenant should just be running it into the 4th base. He'd be getting a lot of worker kills, especially because this army up here for Von Big Cats, it's hanging out.
And there's no creep. There is no creep spread either, so little backstabs have a lot of potential for the
defensive planetary. It's not going to survive that long. Oh, and it's not a full wall off either. But they'll be able to get some good cost efficiency here, but I think there's just too much stuff.
Well, I mean, these ultras are getting choked really badly.
Oh, this was a terrible engagement for Von Big Cat. He's over 3,000 minerals down at this point. Or 3,000 resources.
Yeah, he's remaking a lot, but like Arc's supply only went down about 10 through that fight.
Yeah, this is not a good fight for him. He should not be trying to press the press the low ground at disadvantage.
Yeah, and like without the choke on the ultras, they get a lot more AoE chance. This army's gonna get surrounded, and unfortunately, I think that'll be about it.
Are those Manor Mules? Oh no, they're trying to be repaired mules. And Revenant taps out. But I mean, considering the league difference on that one, Revenant did a pretty decent job, not dying or not losing hardly anything to the 3 Roach Rush. And
yeah, I think with some very, very, very minor changes, Arc could have very much so taken that game.
He could, yeah. And Von Big Cat did a decent job as well, getting some good damage in with those mutas and expanding out, being able to max out on a nice tier 3 army just to take it right. He was doing the right damage they needed to do. He was keeping Revenant feeling off balance.
And keeping the mech, like the critical mass of mech from happening, both economically and just picking off important units here and there.
Well, that ties the series up 1-1, and we can get into set 3. And this is the Diamond 3-2 match, right?
This is the first Diamond 2-3 match. Yes, there
Okay.
are two of them, and then there are two, from my understanding, two unrestricted Diamond matches.
Yes, where it could be Diamond 1, 2, or 3. I've been playing in set 4, so that's the Diamond 3-2. All right, and let us get into this. I believe TVP on Pillars of Gold.
A cute snack. Oh my. Don't let Bomb watch this.
Oh boy. We love you, Bomb. Alright, let's see if I can get the names correct on this one. In the bottom left, our blue FxB Terran. It is Visser.
And in the top right, in the pink, playing Protoss for Born Gosu, it is a cute snack.
And yes, it must be pronounced snack.
Well, it's typed snack.
I played Magic the Gathering pretty reasonably competitively. I wasn't very good, but there was a snake deck that came out in about 2016, and it was customary that whenever you played the snake creature, you just had to go snack. You get some snake tokens, like mini snacks.
That sounds like I quit right around then. I used to play quite a bit. That sounds very much so akin to my Hydra deck that was Hail Hydra. So every time you played a Hydra, you had to say Hail Hydra.
Oh, why did people not around me do that? That is wonderful. But yeah, beginning of this game, it looks fairly standard,
Normal?
I guess. Yeah, gateway and just normal barracks.
Another person not trying to wall either the Reaper Cliff or the back of their mineral line. That surprises me for Protoss.
So which direction would you want to do that? This bottom area here? Oh, yes, the one that's got the 2 diamonds.
I don't know about Reaper walling this, like the forward Reaper wall. I personally do against Terran. I do the one that's like behind the mineral line, because that pretty much guarantees you will kill the Reaper versus just keeping it out of your base.
So Visser puts down his CC and then cancels it immediately. I guess it was just slightly off, but for Terran, I don't think you have to care about that.
You really don't. It's like would you rather lose like a second and a half of time off of production with it, or 100 minerals, isn't it? Or is it 75 minerals from canceling it?
It was 100. He only got 300 back.
Yeah, so yeah. I think Terran should not cancel misplaced bases. Please do not do this.
Or at least misplaced command centers. Like misplaced or supply depot, I get it. But...
Yeah, do not cancel buildings that can fly.
Alright, this Reaper is shooting at this Twilight Council. And just
this looks like the standard like blink opener for PvTs. The Adept's interesting.
This is getting... What is this, more
kind of personal preference if you get the Adept or the Stalker. But might lose a probe here to Visser's Reaper. Almost.
Now, I will say I'm a little surprised that Visser's in the Diamond 2-3. Well, I guess maybe not as much. He played a lot about a year ago, and I think he was better than me, so he was getting close to Diamond 1, and then I think he stopped playing for 8 months.
Ooh, Dark Shrine.
Dark Shrine. Yes, Dark Shrine.
Dark Shrine with a Robo, so probably DT drops.
That sounds nefarious. So this will be a test on Visser to see... Okay, so he does scout it.
Yeah, this Reaper is getting so much done.
This goes to show you don't have to kill workers with a Reaper for it to be effective. It's a scout first and foremost, and a lot of people, I think, don't get that.
Yeah, that's why I prefer doing the behind the mineral line wall, because if it runs into that, it has to go back through your attacking unit, and it dies. If you just keep it out of your base, it will eventually wiggle its way in there and be annoying.
Right, and yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. We have a prism coming out of the Robo. It's going to be timed pretty well with the Dark Shrine finishing. And
Meanwhile, Visser is going into Widow Mines. It looks like he's going to do like a 3 Widow Mine drop or a 2 Widow Mine drop.
And I do want to note he doesn't have an engineering base, so he can't make turrets for the DTs.
Right. Nor does he have a tech lab on anything, so he cannot make a Raven. So he's going to be completely dependent on scans. Thankfully, he currently has 2 banked up and almost.
Oh no!
Oh no!
He lets the adept in. It's pretty low on health, but
He also just burned a scan at the front.
Oh. Yeah,
so he has 1 scan to work with right now, almost 2.
Yeah, there's 2 DTs in the prison presently. I'm guessing he's going to drop the 2 and then warp another 2 into the base.
Probably. Focusing down the tech lab to prevent the Raven, although Visser immediately makes a Raven anyways. That's good.
Able to kite down, yeah, both of the DTs.
Be close.
Ah, there we go. This Prism's gonna do some scouting. Up, warping in some more. Let's see how much energy we have left. 19 and 42. Not enough for a scan.
No, but the Raven is almost done. And right now, Visser only has just enough to kill these anyways.
This is
losing Marines on hold position.
This is a lot of workers, and I must have missed earlier a lot of workers dying to, like, maybe in the natural? I've got 10 worker kills on a cute snack. Never a good feeling when you have to use SCVs to kill a DT. There's still one in the main.
That one finally dies. The Raven is out now, so this should be dealt with. A Viking to push away the Warp Prism would be great. Acute Snack, however, has not committed heavily to this. In fact, they've been very much so staying on top of their tech and their expansions behind this. Their third base is up and being saturated. They have the robotics bay, so they're ready to make Colossus. And they are starting their charge to go with the Colossus.
And I do want to note that this is 51 workers to 28. So this is the territory for Visser where he would need to just produce a giant army and try to all in. Because I'm not sure he could really catch up economically from this, or at least
you say that, but Widow Mines versus probes is a magical thing when they get undetected hits.
Like that?
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned. I almost missed that. 10 worker kills there, so that'll even things up a little bit. But I mean, this is still 3 bases to 2.
Did Visser even start a 3rd CC? I don't believe so. Ooh, his stim only just started. Oh no. That means he can't pressure.
Well, fortunately for him, it looks like Acute Snack's only got 4 gateways to make units off of at the moment. A couple stalkers waiting for that medevac to come back.
Acute Snack is starting his 1-1, however. And they do have a tech-heavy army, even if it's not got a lot of gateway support. 2 Colossus and an Immortal already in a game where you have that many workers.
Right, and it's not like Visser's not in a position where he could punish this. If you notice something like this and you've got a relatively untouched economy, you can probably do the day 9 strategy of go effing kill them, because they're just, they're very tech heavy, very expensive. It's hard to replace this.
But because of the delayed stim and the economic disadvantage, like you said, you can't really, like, even if you tried to jump on it without stim, it's really hard to burst down something as bulky as a Colossus.
But it looks like Visser is getting to the 5-1-1 convergence points for bio. But there might be, there's extra gateways being gathered on for Acute Snacks. So if there's a time, it is now. But he doesn't have the units to do it.
Yeah, like currently there are as many Zealots as there are Marines.
And Acute Snack is right on top of that. 1-1 finished and immediately 2-2 started.
This looks like Acute Snack plays this way consistently. Like, they are very comfortable with like when they want to build things and making sure to stay on top of them. Here comes the Templar Archives. Only thing is that they're kind of throwing money around with making bulk pylons.
Right. Well, they were supply blocked at this moment, so they just threw down 4. But it looks like, yeah, Viscer's getting a little frisky, and the army of acute snack is, yeah, it's moving into a similar location. But yeah, I think stim in, shoot the Nexus, and leave.
Mm-hmm. Now, Acute Snack does not have Blink. So the tanks are a little bit less vulnerable than they would normally be.
Let's see, Viscer is attacking the Assimilator as opposed to the Nexus, and the Cute Snack comes in. The Zealots are jumping on top of the army. The tanks do not get on siege. And
he does disable 2 of the Colossus, however.
That's good. That's probably, yeah, he gets his army away, but I think Acute Snack is now in push mode.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, this is all you have? Okay.
Right, and the Prism is starting to get active in Viscer space as well, and he just taps out right then and there.
Unfortunately, the DTs just got way too much done early on. Which is surprising considering Viscer knew it was coming the whole time.
That's true. Yeah, getting that engineering bay with a couple... Do you want the engineering bay with a couple of missile turrets, or do you want to save up your scans for that? I mean...
I personally would be more comfortable with like saving a scan and then a missile turret in both mineral lines, and then like getting a Viking immediately. Yeah, I would have delayed instead because he had a medevac in production. Canceling that and getting the Viking to push the Warp Prism away would have helped him a lot.
Right. And that was a solid game from Acute Snack as well. Here's a harass, dealt a lot of economic damage, used the time that there was economic damage to get ahead economically, and then just macro up a big army and win.
Mm-hmm.
That is well done, and we'll get into set 4, and I recognize one of the names on this one.
Uh-oh. Is this your game? It is your game.
This is my game, so I'll point out the things that I'm doing as it's happening, because there are some key moments, but yep, ZVT on Submarine. Fortunately, since I'm introducing the left side, I don't introduce myself. I think that'd be a little bit awkward. All right, in the top left, the Teal Terran player, it is Druid MDT from Born Gosu.
And in the bottom right, playing Zerg in purple, it's some random dude named Dr. Powerthirst. No idea who this is.
Yeah, unfortunately, because I've tried to change that in StarCraft itself, I can't actually fit the Doctor.
Rip.
Which is disappointing, but oh well, that's okay. So I will say this much: this on Submarine, I went into this match knowing that most of my opponents on ladder have been going battlecruiser into mech. This map is just a bunch of choke points, so mech is pretty strong on that. And I also knew from just looking up a bunch of replays that Druid really likes to go mech himself.
Not surprising. Mech is pretty much the go-to these days in TVZ, even on less choke heavy maps. It's the more reliable style. You have a lot less to worry about, like not just like looking away for a second and your army disappearing to a bunch of banelings.
No, instead you put that disadvantage on the player. So I'm not sure why that's happening specifically. You usually see an uptick in mech after the new year, because Vibes Bronze to GM, he always plays mech for that. But this one's lasted a bit longer. I'd say probably half to 2/3 of my ZVTs are against mech.
Mine as well. It's usually tank heavy mech as well. It's not like sophisticated. It's just tank, like with some battle cruisers or like tank Hellbat.
Right. Say tank Hellbat is traditional mech. The ones that I've been facing, and I think we're close in MMR range, it's just been a balance of Hellbat tank Thor, which is more what Vibe is doing.
Well, that could also just be either people worrying you're going to go mutas or you are going mutas.
Right. So this is standard hatch gas pool, And yeah, Zergling speed just started. The Reaper's about to come in, but I do want to note that the 3 drones are still on gas. And this is something that the Reaper should be looking for. And
looks like this Reaper's just going to come in here and harass drones. Not even really scout properly. He's going right for drone damage.
Yep. And he gets one, which is annoying. But he goes past the gases here. And at this point, I didn't know whether or not he saw it. But that should be ringing alarm bells for Druid.
He's sending a Marine scouting.
And his Reaper and SCV are blocking the incorrect 3rd base location, so this drone's able to just go and take this 3rd pretty easily. And Druid, on the other hand, is getting...
Druid is making a Hellion and a reactor.
Yep. He's getting a 2nd factory. Just normal 1-1-1 mech stuff. Well, not even 1-1-1. This is a 2-1.
Yeah, this is skipping the starport, which isn't too surprising. You don't really have to have the starport early in this matchup unless you want, like, Banshees.
Yeah, I do want to note that the Reaper went through the back of the mineral line again and passed a Roach Warren. So this should be ringing all sorts of alarm bells.
He is making a tech lab on his on his barracks. I'm assuming he's going to switch over. He made a bunker somewhere. Where did he put
he
that?
made the bunker at my 4th base location as a block.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's like, where is that bunker?
Right. And so far, I mean, so far so good on... This is a Roach Wing all-in. And so far so good. I mean...
He hasn't even walled properly.
Yeah, and his Hellions are going out at standard time. I think yeah, he runs into some Zerglings on the map. But he hasn't even seen the Roaches yet. So I gather here that he didn't really process the scouting information. Now here are the Roaches, so I mean, this tells you all you need to know.
I will say, like,
siege tank making.
Gases, when you're like scouting a Zerg's gas is kind of wonky because them being on gas and couching how many drones are on it means a lot of different things. There are a lot of builds that are gas dependent for Zerg, and it's one of the more like small details that's very easy to miss.
It is, yes. So the Roaches take some shelling. They're not going to be able to get into the main base, so at this point they're just sitting behind the mineral line. They're content just to kill a couple SCVs that weren't evacuated out, but just block off some mining. A lot of Zerglings sloppily left outside the base. These could be doing additional harassment, but they're not going to be able to take down this base. They're not going to be able to break the natural, so I'm just going straight into drones at this point. Tank is clearing out the hold position Roaches. I realize, oh snap, I have a bunch of units sitting here in the middle of the map. Let's use them.
See, if this were me, I would have gone tunneling claws.
Actually, that would have been a pretty good idea. Yeah, the Zerglings are coming in. Blue Flame Hellions already on the ridge, so I mean, this is just another instance of blocking off mining just as long as possible. At this point, yeah, we're at 48 drones to 30 SCVs with 12 more now in production.
You are floating a lot of minerals for this point in the game.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's the reason I'm still in Diamond. Diamond 2.
Like, that is 2 hatcheries that you could have, and since you've done this pressure, it's not likely that he's going to swing out at you with anything of substance for the next couple minutes.
So if he were making Cyclones instead of siege tanks, he would have a pretty nice harassment force right now, but yeah, he's taking his 3rd CC, so he looks pretty content. And actually there's 2 CCs here, so
yeah,
one in the
so
wall.
even more so, like, he's going to be on more bases than you in a moment. That's scary.
Not the place you want to be, so that economic advantage is there, but it's not necessarily going to be there for very long. This is lair just about to finish. Mech has been confirmed, so Roach is here just clearing away space for the 4th base, which probably should have gone down a full minute ago, and some Hellions coming out to do some harassment. Actually, yeah, there's the 4th base. And now the 2nd too soon for the Hellion harass.
Surprising. Wait, what? Where the what?
Alright,
what?
Looks like he's gonna run them away for a moment. Now he's running back.
He could have killed the hatchery. 4 of them's enough to DPS it down.
Good harass damage being done here.
God.
It's he gets 5 drones, which is not bad considering the drone pull and everything.
Yeah, like considering how heavily those Hellions got choked up there.
See, lots of missile turrets being put around the base. This is looking like a pretty solid Turtle Terran style. 3rd base is now taken.
Yeah, this 4th CC is probably about, looking at where he's putting it, it's about to be a planetary, and he's just going to leave it there. Maybe? He has the money to make it a planetary.
Maybe he's happy just to have an in-wall command center.
I guess.
And there's the planetary.
Yeah, as you're attacking.
Helpful, right? So yeah, so these roaches, they're not going to be long for this world, so they're going to do like their predecessor, their ancestors before them, sit behind a mineral line and just make it so that Druid can't really mine on it. These are bad rally roaches, they shouldn't really be dying here. So, free kills. Now the Liberator gets to play the dancing game of reposition and shoot the roaches down. I think these are more roaches about to run into the wall. Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah, losing track of your rallies is pretty easy to do, especially as Zerg, where you're like, all right, I'm going to do this attack. So I make this initial group, they go across. I want to reinforce them. So you make 2 more groups to go up behind it, and something goes south at the attack, and like, well, those units are already moving there, and you forgot about them.
Right. Okay, so Druid now seems to be going into Thor Tank. Yeah, some Hellbats there. So more of the balanced version of mech that was mentioned earlier. He also is in the habit of putting random tech structures over where I can then expand a bit later. The Liberator's sitting here to shoot any drone that comes by. That's adorable. This Liberator's killing drones.
NG bays are pretty cheap. I'm not surprised that that's not unusual. It's more strange that like he knew you were expanding to the left, and he is blocking buildings to the north. That's kind of silly.
Yeah. He is getting to the point though where he's going to reach that critical mass of mech, where I think it's somewhere between like 130 and 150 supply, where Zerg can't really cost efficiently trade into it with just Roach Hydra, which is the army that I've got going right now. You really need Vipers, which there's 5 currently in production, to take a good engagement with it. But even then, it is so easy just to lose those Vipers or just end up in a bad choke point and all your army's gone.
Yeah, this is also a very upgrade light game, considering the economies on both sides.
Well, the economy of Druid is now up running. He's muling the crap out of this 3rd place. And curious if he's going to try to get a 4th.
Yeah, it's just like, it's 11 minutes, and he's only getting +1 just now.
So if I had to guess, his strategy at this point is to make a death ball and try to win. Which is a solid strategy. And could be a big reason why you see a lot of, especially Diamond Terrans, just go straight to mech. You get a number of wins where you're say like take this army and they just move into this choke point and die.
He's not pre-sieged. Like,
nope. Viper's coming forward with the army, and abductions on some
tanks.
Yeah, abductions on tanks, but a lot of the Vipers mishotkeyed and dying, and those are expensive. We do not want that to happen.
Vipers need a basic attack like a High Templar.
The high ground tank is now taken down, but all of the Vipers here are all but one are now dead. We're getting to the point of almost all the mech armies now taken down, but I mean there's not enough here to take down the planetary, not enough here to really deal with the Thors, but enough to take down this third base and secure a pretty good economic lead.
There's so many minerals.
Well, at this point, as the Zerg player and the mech player as well, we're both limited by gas.
Yeah.
And so it's not unusual to make a bunch of cracklings and start charging across the map. But I will tell you that
it's not that you're not using your larva, like you said. It's the point of the game.
Yeah, you're right. Upgrades here are a little bit light. Some of these Vipers are being redone, but this is also a point where, in the units lost, I've lost about 3,000 more than Druid. But seeing as his economy is just shot, he's mining about.
Look at how many workers. Oh, he just moved some. He had 43 of 14 on his natural.
Army coming in here. This is not the most cost-effective of engagements, but at this point, it's just keep your supply low because I'm mining more than you. I have more bases than you.
And he can't make tanks and Thors at the same time. Not effectively, anyways.
So those are just being annoying, doing damage. Yeah, units lost, about 3,000 down, which isn't the worst thing in the world. It's, not the most cost-effective engagement either. Especially because his economy is now back online.
He's just got nothing to do with it. He's got so few units at this point.
Yeah, all the SCVs have been pulled to make a wall, but...
There's a tank up there.
Yep, tank on the high ground. Great placement for it. Especially if, there are no Viper. I think there is a Viper coming, or at least gaining energy. Yeah, there's a Viper. Should be with the army. But yeah, that tank single-handedly keeps the game from ending on the spot.
I mean, realistically, it's pretty over anyways. He hasn't landed his third base, and the SCVs are blocking it. So they're mining to the long distance to the planetary at the moment.
Yeah, it's also 88, 84 army to 3.
And he only has 4 factories, so he really can't produce very quickly either. Hasn't.
That's true.
His gas saturation's all over the place.
Well, some of this I'm sure is, unless that's the main... Oh no, main base is fine, yeah, because some of this is just taking the attacks over and over again.
Oh god.
Viper at this point is...
saturation in the main. He's 17 of 2.
Yeah, this is just brute force, running in and getting on top of the production line.
And that should be it.
Yep, if you're a Terran player, you know this stage of the game. It's time to leave.
That ties it 2-2, I believe?
Oh, snap. I didn't update the match records, but yep, that'll tie it 2-2. Kind of weird casting your own game. It's like, oh, I know how this is going to end and what happens in, these little things, but... Alright, so, yeah, it is now tied 2-2, but set 5, this was Unknown Corner, and I'm not sure who Corner's opponent was, but I do know that it was a walkover in Born Gosu's favor, so that actually makes the score 3-2.
Ah.
Means we'll get into set 6 here.
So the other unrestricted diamond slot.
Yes. And Duddles is finally able to play in this slot too. He was counted out. He was the so-called patch Zerg for when the Nidus was a tad bit broken. He's able to shoot himself up to close to Masters 2, but then fell back down immediately once the patch hit.
Yeah, he's been playing in the rookie slot in ATL as well.
All right, let us get this one going. A ZVP on Ice and Chrome.
Oh boy, it's Duddles. You know what's coming.
It's this is Duddles, and Duddles has a little bit of a reputation.
Just a little bit. Wait, is this guy actually gold?
I'm not sure. Maybe. We'll fix the win-loss record here. In the bottom left for Born Gosu, it is Paul No Name.
And in the top right, in the yellow, playing Zerg, it is the ever-famous Duddles. And by that, I mean nobody knows who he is.
And immediately, Duddles does an extractor trick and then goes up to 15. I wonder what this is for. If you are unfamiliar with this build, then I suggest going to SE2 Swarm and watching most of their replays from week to week. You will become familiar with the 15-14-14.
If not this, it's a proxy hatch. One or the other.
One or the other. But I'm not sure the probe is able to see that too easily, but if you click on these things, you'll notice that they are a bit quicker than usual.
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely far fewer drones on minerals. So if Paul No Name has done a little bit of his Duddles homework, we'll have an idea of what's coming.
Well, he's rallied on... Oh my goodness. Please do not queue 4 probes on your Nexus, even at this point in the game.
Yeah, a couple more there. I will note that Duddles' drone did just kill the scouting probe.
Yeah, it's like that really, like, Protoss openers in PvZ are very tight, and that's 150 minerals that you just delayed your second Nexus with, right. Which delays your cybernetics core, which delays your first tech unit, which means the wall's not going to be properly set up. It's really, really important that you have the money you need in PvZ, because the wall is so critical.
Especially now that you know Zergling Rush is coming. So, in order for this to be a successful hold, there would need to be a full wall off, and preferably an adept acting as...
Well, I mean, realistically, you would have started a Zealot as soon as you saw the pool was that early.
But this is also going into Stargate immediately, and the wall is just not finished. Duddles is...
And it's not only is it not just not finished, the pylon's gonna die.
Yep, and this game's probably gonna be over before it even started.
Yep. Second pylon's gonna die.
Yep.
And there was no probe pull either.
Oh.
Like, generally in this situation, what you have to do is pull the probes, because then you can kind of force a pylon down and get your production up.
Now, he does make this cute little wall, but it's not quite a wall. I mean, probes are gonna...
Yeah, and it doesn't wall the gaps in the mineral line either.
Fortunately, they are using game heart, so we can see that there's 9, 12... Yeah, this looking real bad for Paul No Name here. GG is called, and just like that, we are tied 3-3.
In typical FxB style, this is going to be a 4-3 one way or another.
But that makes it exciting for us, because we're not going into set 7 thinking, someone's already won. This doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We get into the best of 3, and it's nice and dramatic too, because set 7 is the best of 3 with the Masters players of each team. This is limited to Masters 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Masters 2 is the max, yes.
Right. But then, yeah, if you hit Masters 1, then you're just disqualified entirely. Which makes sense, because that's like 4.9k or some such.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a little higher. The Masters 1's a little higher than that right now.
Oh, is it?
Let me check real quick. Our ranges. Masters 1 in America is 4777 to 5,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that seems a little bit lower. Wow.
Yeah, 4,900 is almost GM.
Well, granted,
When did that happen?
I think there's just a giant glut of players who are just in that 43 to 4,500 range.
It's not just an A like that either. Europe is only about 50. No, I'm sorry. The base for Europe is only 40 MMR higher for Masters 1. So, oof.
All right. Well, getting into this match here, I will note that it was initially supposed to be a ZVZ, Sauce King versus Killjoy, but Killjoy was busy moving this last week. And
yeah, geez, Killjoy, how could you?
How could you? So instead, we will be treated to a PVZ.
And Golden Wall is quite a map. I've discussed this on some other streams. Golden Wall allows for some really strange things to happen. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll discuss that, but first we'll have the Zerg player in the sort of bottom-ish left. It's Born Gosu's Sauce King.
And in the right, in the purple, playing Protoss, it is Gale Force.
All right, now I will note that Gale originally played Zerg, and he tried very hard to get up to Master 3. He finally does it. It takes him quite a while, and then he switched not too long after into Protoss, and then just memed his way back up to Masters in like 300 games.
Well, once you hit a certain MMR with one race, there is some bias in the system to like bump you up faster on other races.
Is there?
Yes.
Interesting.
It uses your base MMR for your other race as like a reference point and tries to get you at least close to that until you've done a lot of games, and you have to be losing a lot as well to not end up more or less in the same place.
I will point out that Gale was a little bit annoying with that probe and did a little bit of a probe block on the spawning pool, but
it was cute.
Sauce King was undeterred. He also, interestingly, he pulled drones immediately off minerals into the gas that finished. Usually you rally the drones that are hatching. So that's the first deviation from the hatch gas pool, whereas Gale over here is doing standard Gateway Nexus Cyber.
To me, this looks like an attempt to get really fast speed. He might also get Zerglings out fast enough to attempt to cancel the wall pylon. Especially since Gale is doing a kind of a strange wall. I don't think he can wall. I don't think another gateway is enough to make this a wall.
I don't think so either, but to be fair, this is an awkward map to wall off on.
It's not any harder to wall this off than it is any other high ground natural. They're all equally annoying, but like we're Masters players. This Masters players, they know how to wall. I hope. Right.
So Gale's going Stargate, his tech building of choice after the initial opener, and Sauce King is still mining gas. So
and taking the gold as his third base.
And taking the... I was kind of surprised, like, getting the early Zergling speed. I thought he would take the gold as his natural and then mass up a ton of speedlings, but it looks like he's content to take the gold as a third. And, okay, so he's now taken workers out of gas. So as you mentioned, it could be pretty confusing with Zerg players seeing their gas, because you might think, oh, they're still in gas, they're going to do something weird, or they just forgot to take them out.
And it's like, okay, even if they are still in gas, are they going for Fast Nidus? Is it going to be a roach thing? Is it some like weird like burrow nonsense? Like there are a lot of things that could be, and it's the deviation at that point then is like, how many drones do you have on your natural? Do you have a third? Is a queen late? And it's like, how are you supposed to tell that?
Well, what you're supposed to do is get your tea leaves and start seeing the future. Alright, so Speedlings are coming to scout. I think, yeah, this is now a full wall off for Gale.
So yeah, it is. Okay, so one gateway was enough. It looked like it wasn't. So, oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, it looks like the Oracle's able to get in, get a little bit of damage, 3 drone kills, and Sauce King is now pulling all of his drones to go to the finished gold third base.
Which Gale does know about.
Yeah, Gale does know about it, and you can, like with a Prism and some Adepts, you can shut down the mining to the space, but it also depends on what Sauce is going to be trying to do with this. He also has a bit of a reputation like Doubles as being quite the memer.
Also, we were talking about the map being a bit strange. It looks like neither player has decided to make it strange, because there are 2 ways this map plays out on macro. Well, 3 ways that this map can play out on macro. Either both players expand north and play it quote-unquote normal. One player can, especially a Protoss or a Terran player, can like hard wall or just wall normally at the natural and expand backwards and take the bottom side. And then you split the map in this weird 90-degree angle where one player's going north and one player's going through the bottom. And when that happens, it makes the rush distance on the map huge.
Yes, this is not a small map. It is a weird map. So yeah, you get, say, people taking the gold or going behind, but when you're able to forestall the shenanigans, this is probably one of the heavier macro maps in the pool right now.
It is extremely defensive, even if you play taking the forward bases. Like the forward third, and the gold third are both high ground bases with choke points. And if you take the forward third, you have a pocket fourth or another high ground fourth with a good choke. It is designed to be a slow map, and deceptively so, because everybody kind of like memes on it, not realizing that.
Yeah, it's not like Redshift. It's like, no, this could be a macro map if we want it. I will note that Gale was able to kill, I think, 4 more drones, but lost one of his 2 oracles, the second one barely getting away. He's gotten his third base down pretty comfortably, but it looks like Sauce is raring for an attack here. He's stopped at about 40 he's 40 workers. This looks to be a speed roach all in.
But Gale is ready for it, and with some really nicely placed force field, it's going to catch about 5 of the roaches out.
Yeah, and against a rush like this, as much as you're able to section them off, and let's see, Gale is targeting down the Ravager, but it looks like he's about to lose that third base.
Shield Better gets focused down before it can be overcharged. However, this does put Sauce King in an awkward position where Gale now holds the ramp, but he gets a beautiful Lynx around.
Oh yeah, he's just remaking a bunch of Zerglings here. Gale is losing all of his units. Not looking good for him.
He just didn't have enough on the ground, and that Lynx around really hurt him. If those Lings had not been there, he would have crushed that force because it would have been trapped with only to go through army to escape.
Right, and everything, there's no wall, so everything's now in the third base. So it feels like we're just waiting for Gale to tap out at this point.
Yeah, Gale's trying to hold with air units. He's doing some damage, like with the Void Ray, but I'm surprised this Immortal has stayed alive as long as it has.
But yeah, when your Void Ray is shooting down Zerglings, you're not in a good spot.
And the Zerglings also have completely cleared out the main.
And GG from Gale. So, Born Gosu in this best of 3 will go up 1-0. Go into game 2 on Everdream. Everdream feels like a lot more of a standard map than...
Which is funny because it has the smallest rush distance in the map pool other than the one with the acceleration zones. Everdream is actually not very far across. And I don't know how much of GSL you've watched, but there have been a couple Zergs who did some really cheeky things on this map by taking the purple gas bases.
Well, we'll have to see if any of that happens here. So I'll start here in the top right. The Zerg from Born Gosu. Up 1-0 in this best of 3. Sauce King.
And in the bottom right, in the purple playing Protoss and looking to secure his position, come back a bit, it is Gale Force. Yes, there is actually a like fast Ravager build on this map specifically against Protoss, where you take their their rich gas base, and you mass produce Ravagers off of it, and then you go Ravager Ling, and you just roll over them.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of this. Dine was telling me about how he does this against Protoss now. Every map he can.
Scarlet did it against previous GSL, not the current one. I can't remember who should she do it. I think she did it not against Zest. Who else was in her round of 8 group? Whatever. Scarlet did it and won with it, and people were like, "Oh, that's a good idea."
Yeah, I did not catch that match, though. I will say for Scarlet that whenever she plays in GSL, it feels like she does okay-ish, or she takes out Rogue.
Mm-hmm. That is very much so her thing. Her most recent run, where like Prince was really scary for somebody kind of out of nowhere. Like the way he prepped, and the fact that he very nearly killed Maru, and then very nearly killed like Scarlet, and he was definitely kind of out of the blue, and made that whole group much scarier than I expected it to be.
Yeah, we were in the FxB chat listening to that first game, and oh man, because we're looking at this thinking, wow, did he just cannon rush Maru to death? It's like, oh no, Maru's Maru. But yeah, they're exciting games to watch though.
Yeah, it's like you could tell just by the decisions Prince was making. He had studied everybody he was playing for like 30 or 40 hours straight. It was crazy.
He was pretty well prepared.
We're not talking much about this game because the only thing of import that has happened is like they put sprays in each other's bases.
Well, yeah, so Sasuke, he hasn't taken his third base yet, but I'd expect that's what this drone's about to do. Gale has opened up, the standard like Gateway Nexus Cybercore. He's doing Robo as his initial tech of choice, so I'm curious if he's going to put down a Dark Shrine or if he's going to go for
if it was the DT drop build, he would already have a Twilight Council.
Yeah, or maybe he's gonna put down a late Twilight and go for a charge one all in.
I think this might be a pillow build actually.
Yeah, that would do it.
That's a Warp Prism. He's got 2 Stalkers and a Sentry in production. I am pretty sure this is a pillow build actually.
Yeah, well, Sauce King is making up a lot of Zerglings.
Oh boy.
So it looks like he's just gonna go for the throat right quick. Yeah, Warp Gate's just about to finish, and Gale's only got 2 gateways.
Yeah, Gale's. The thing is, Gale's probably about to warp in 2 Stalkers as soon as that finishes, and then all 4 Stalkers go in Prism, and they start hunting Overlords. Problem is, that's a lot of Zerglings.
Yeah, so it looks like he'll be able to do some. He's got a force field here, which is great.
There's no shield battery.
I wonder if he's gonna need it though. Warp Gate finishes. A lot of Zerglings. Okay, the wall is now down.
You need to throw in another force field, Gale. Sasuke didn't realize he was in fast enough and could have just run through all of that. Very nice micro keeping all of these units alive for Gale Force, however, with the Warp Prism.
Good for Gale. There's a lot more Zerglings who are gearing up and ready to go, so it looks like we're Ling flooded, boys.
I like how that force field literally pushed a Ling into the wall.
Yeah, puts down an extra couple gateways, and Sasuke's now making up some drones, so he's gathered his Zerglings together. He's got a total of 42. And I wonder if he's just going to try to perpetually deny a third base, or he's going to make a Baneling Nest and try to bust this one more time.
I feel like if he was going to do a Baneling Nest, it would have been made already. He's got the gas.
Right. Yeah, he's putting down Spore Crawlers, too. So, yeah, he's and a bunch of drones. So, yeah, he's content just to macro behind this. Gale is putting down 2 more gateways as well.
Yeah, Gale is like, okay, I'm going to still go for this. He's got the 3rd Immortal popping. He's missing 2 gateways for this. but that's not surprising considering how hard he got link flooded. He was forced to make some stuff you don't really want to with this build.
Right, he's finally putting down that shield battery in his wall also.
Considering how ling heavy Sauce King is, he may want to go into Adepts or Zealots or both.
Or both. Notably, Gale does not have either of his gases, so he is tickling that all-in button, gets his 7th gateway, and Sauce is making a bunch of drones. He hasn't really gone into any other tech. His Zerglings are running around the map, probably looking for ninja bases or a way in, but this is a hard wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a slightly delayed pillow build.
Right, and do we have, is this Glaive Adepts? No, we don't even have a
No, they're just,
Council.
You do not get a Twilight Council with this build, you just go.
Right, and it looks like...
Oh, he's gonna get into the natural, uncontested. If he can get up that main ramp and force field himself up there, it would be beautiful.
Looks like, yeah, it looks like he's just gonna sit at the ramp, which is just as well. Zerglings can't make a full surround here. He's not even, now he's using force fields. But there's no roaches, just a bunch of Zerglings, no upgrades.
that instant GG.
GG, Gale Force takes it. Well, it feels like that was a Zergling all-in, which was held, which then immediately was hit with a counter all-in, just gateway, 2-base gateway units.
Mm-hmm. And there just wasn't enough other stuff in the Zerg's army to deal with how tech-heavy that is.
Oh yeah, a lot of sentries, couple of mortals. That is a gas-heavy army for only 2 gases on Gale's side.
Yeah, normally what you would be doing, you would not have that many sentries, and you would have more stalkers. But it does, the limited gas does eventually lead to, like, you're just making a bunch of zealots. But because it was so ling heavy, he got to instead make adepts, which are very gas cheap. And only 25 gas each.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's not like you're trying to push 4 immortals into that. All right, let's get going to the game 3. This one is for all the marbles, and these are 2 players who've shown that they like to rush each other, and it's the shortest map in the pool.
Mm-hmm. And 2 players who are also obviously we're in the ace match of the ace match. They can take maps off of each other quite happily.
So naturally, this is going to be the game where they both do a no rush 15.
Of course.
All right, in the top left for the match, for the best of 3 for all of it, it is the Teal Zerg, Born Gosu Sauce King.
And in the bottom right, in the purple with a different building skin than last game, playing Protoss, it is FxB Gale Force.
You know, you're right. He did. Is this his lucky skin?
Considering he won with the other skin and lost with this one, I don't think so.
This is a 12 pool from Sauce King.
Oh no.
And
who called Duddles to play for this guy?
Well, if this were Duddles, then we'd be looking at.
Oh no! This isn't just a 12 pool.
It is the hatchery to block the wall.
Okay, so this takes a very specific response to deal with if it's followed through. It takes 4 probes to DPS down the hatchery enough to kill it, to actually outpace its building health. The other thing is you need to be ready to re-wall, because obviously it's going to be awkward, but you have to wall behind this, because the whole point is to let it slip Zerglings in.
Right. And Gale's doing a good job. He's making units behind this, but he did not pull the probes, notably.
Only 2 probes on the hatchery, which means it's going to have a lot of health when it finishes. And he has... I guess that's a 1 pylon gap in the wall still.
Yeah, even so, I mean, even when this finishes, there's still gonna be creep there for quite a while.
Yeah, that's the whole reason why you want to keep it like at least 4 probes, sometimes 5 if it's really in a bad spot, because the creep is a bigger deal than the actual hatchery. Nice emergency battery to seal this off.
It is. I think that Queen's going to be able to finish.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, especially since nothing else is attacking this hatchery, so Yeah, this is quite the heinous cheese, but it looks like it's working pretty well for Sauce, and that queen can just lay down a creep tumor.
And he's also making drones here now, which means
it's
he's
not a
gonna
full
make
wall off either.
creep wall. Oh, that's just game.
Yeah, it's unless you get the Zerglings go on stop position and not attack, and just let the probes all kill them.
I mean, he's gonna go fight in the shield batteries, which will help. He does have a lot of shield batteries, but the sheer loss of mining and the fact that he can't really afford to make anything but zealots, and he's just too busy to even do that.
This is a cool build.
I used to actually, when I played in JSL a lot back in Cranky, there was 2 players on FxB that used to do this to me all the damn time. It is a pain in the ass.
And so you got really good at the response.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of an execution check. It's like you notice it's going on and figure out exactly what you're gonna do.
Mm-hmm. And because it's fairly uncommon, if you just don't know what to do with it, it can just kill you. You can luck out and just get the right building placement to hold, but yeah, now that there's spine crawlers coming in.
Oh, and that shield battery in the mineral line is taken down immediately. These probes are being affected. He hasn't just lost immediately, which go Gale. That's nice.
Until you get rid of the hatchery, this just doesn't stop.
Yeah, but once that Nexus goes down too, which it looks like it is, yeah, it's pretty much game over. Yep, and there it goes. Gale does not have enough minerals to even remake, so what you see is what you get. And Sauce is going right into drone production.
You know, these drones are for spines. They're at the forward base.
Fair enough. Gale's sticking into it to the bitter end.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's the last game of the last match. I don't blame him for that at all. And he is not dead. Like, there are still only 13 drones mining.
Yeah, theoretically, he can move them all across the map. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, there's spine crawlers here. We're doing some cancel micro on them, but that last one's going to be able to get down.
Yep, that's going to be a problem. But there are shield batteries. Gale can micro his units back into shield battery range and not lose anything.
Unlike that. Alright, it's time to Alpha Strike, boys.
We go and we fight across the map and we pray. But there are 2 Zerglings coming out and no shield batteries.
This is a great way to end it, I gotta say.
We fight to the bitter end.
There's one spine down here, but yeah, here this is a lot of Zerglings. Probes
yeah, the Zerglings alone are enough. Unless you surround the Adept with your workers. I think that would be the only way, but with the spine crawler, it just doesn't matter.
With the queen and the spine. So, congratulations to Born Gosu. They take the match in the very last game, so that's pretty exciting. It's kind of nice that we didn't get the anticlimactic set 7.
And also, good job to everybody involved on both sides. There was some good play out of everyone, perspective, and even above their expected leagues, for sure.
That's also true. Even if because I still don't know if that one Born Gosu player in the Diamond match was actually gold.
Considering, I do not mean to be judgmental, but considering the fact that they were queuing up 4 probes on their Nexus, it's quite possible.
Oh, okay. Well.
But Arc did really well. Lunar did really well. I am impressed, and hopefully we'll see even better play from them next week if they play.
Hopefully they will, and hopefully we'll get the replay submitted for week 1 and be able to tackle that. Unfortunately, there's only 3 games that are castable. The rest were walkovers or double walks. But those have not been submitted yet, or all the replays for that have not been submitted yet.
Week 1 was a bit of a train wreck on both sides. It was just a hot mess.
But I mean, that's the norm, isn't it?
I don't know. I've never played in CTL with you guys before.
Well, I mean, just in general, it seems like week one is where some of these teams are getting their rosters set up, especially in the lower league matches, because if you play a lot of games, then you're going to wind up just naturally promoting out of platinum. So it's pretty hard to keep your platinum players.
Mm-hmm. That is a perpetual issue in this amateur scene.
Oh well, but yeah, good games by all. This was fun to cast, and we'll probably have to bring it later in the week for the additional matches. We got a little bit of a nice break here with all the holidays days off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
hopefully, go ahead.
Yeah, so let's say we'll wrap it up here. So what you're saying?
Yeah, so it's just gonna say that hopefully we'll be able to do this again soon, and probably with more typical FxB 4-3s.
But hey, at least those are exciting, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll make sure to put this on YouTube so everyone else can catch a hold of it. And we might have to start publishing the times we do this too, if like the other team wants to go and watch it.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that.
I think most of the team are doing casting of their own as well, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, have a good afternoon, evening, everybody, and a good rest of your week then.
Mm-hmm.